Hello class, this is your video review for your Unit 1 test. So the first part is the performance task that we've learned is with Show Me Your Sign. We have a number line and a counters model. So you can start off looking here, how do you add these two numbers? So the first one is number line. This one tells you to move back 5, so you know you need to start actually making these tick marks. So you need to go back 5. So you go back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this one is telling you to move back 3. So you go back 1, 2, 3, and that's -6, -7, and -8. And that is your answer. A way you can check your answer also is since they're the same sign, you can add it, and then you can keep that negative sign. Next method is the counters model. You have 18 plus -7. Okay, so 18 is a positive number. This one's a negative. You can tell the positive's going to win. So let's make sure we draw 18 positives. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Afterwards, you need to draw -7. So I like to put it right underneath. The reason why is because I can cancel it out. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 negatives. This makes a 0 pair, a 0 pair, 0 pair, 0 pair, 0 pair, 0 pair, and 0 pair. You can see there's clearly more positives, so the answer is positive. Let's see how many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So there's 11 positives left, so the answer is positive 11. Okay, so this is still part A. We're still talking about the performance task. We're now putting everything in context of the hot air balloon. You have to explain the scenario with the hot air balloon and then make sure you tell me what the final destination is. So remember, this is where you start. This one tells you if you add or subtract, and this tells you what kind of bags it will be. So you start, so I will begin at -3. Okay, then you're going to add on. Then I will add. This is a negative number. So if you're adding a negative number, you either have sand or you have gas. So since this is a negative number, we know it's going to be sand because sand brings us down, gas brings us up. So in this case, it's going to be sand. So I will add 10 sandbags. Okay, so it'll be 10 sandbags. You begin at -3 and you're gonna go down 10 more. So if you start at -3, you have 0 and you begin at -3, you go back down 10 more, go down 10, well -3, you can add those because they are going to be the same sign. They're both negatives, so you know you're going down 10 times, and that will be, let's see, -4, let's go down 10. That's -4, -5, -6, -7, -8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's only going down 9, and there we go. That's going down 10. You need to count all the way down to 10. Your final destination is -13. Okay, next part. We're going to start. You're either going to add or subtract some type of bags. So I will begin at 5. Then I will, right now you can change the adding if you want. If you want to change the add gas, that's fine. But I'm going to read it for what it is, and it's saying take away. I will take away. And this is negative as well, so we know it's not going to be gas, it's going to be sand again. So I will take away 3 sandbags. And you know that's the same thing if you've changed that to plus. So it's actually kind of an easy problem. What's 5 plus 3? It's 8. So my final destination is 8. All right. Part B, we're going to be modeling rational numbers. Okay, so we have half of 1/4. So we can write it out, half of 1/4. Remember, we're supposed to shade half and 1/4. Let's shade this one first. So 1/4 is going down. You can highlight that or just shade it as so. And then you have half. You only need half of it. So half, we can't go down. We just went down. So now we're going over. So this is 1/4 and this is half of 1/4. And you can see the shaded portion here is just 1. So this is 1 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is 1 out of 8. So the answer is 1/8. And so it said to model and then prove the answer. So you have 1/2 times 1/4. Well, the algorithm says just multiply the top and multiply the bottom. So you get 1/8. So you get it 2 different ways. Okay, let's go to the back. Okay, here's where I see a lot of confusion. This is adding and subtracting. This is multiplying and dividing. I'm getting a lot of the people mixing up their rules here. So let's just make sure we're very clear on what we're supposed to do. Here, you're supposed to always use the Illuminati. Okay, this is the only place that you use it, and that's for multiplying and dividing. Okay, over here, adding, subtracting, there's rules. The first rule is always change to addition. So no subtracting. Okay, no subtracting at all. Change to addition. So let's just do that first for all of this, okay? Let's change all of it to addition first. So this one is easy to change to addition because you know 2 negatives will make a positive. So I'll just change that 17 plus 3. The next one, let's change it to addition. This is 2 negatives. We know that makes a positive. So we add 15. These two are both positive. This one, okay, this is subtraction again. So we need to change this to adding a negative because you just kind of squeeze in that plus sign here. Plus, and then this becomes a negative 1.5. Over here, this is a plus sign, so we're good, still addition. Here, this is a subtraction problem. We need to make sure we change this to adding a negative. Okay, so now we did our first step. We need changed everything to addition first. So there's a plus sign, 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 and there's a plus sign. So we did our first step. Okay, so here is the next step. If they're opposite signs or if they're going to be the same sign. If they're opposite signs, you need to subtract. And the second thing is keep sign of the bigger one, of the bigger number. So bigger number is in if it's more negatives, then it's going to be a negative answer. If it's going to be more positive, then it's going to be a positive answer. So this is opposite signs. The same sign is you add them, you make sure you drop the signs, and then you keep the sign. This one, since they're the same sign, you keep the sign whatever they have. So here, is this opposite sign or same sign? Well, they're both positive, so this is same. This one will be opposite signs because there's a negative and a positive. This one's 2 positive, so this is the same. This is opposite. This is opposite, negative and a positive, and this is 2 negative, so this is the same. So let's go through all the opposite ones first. So this is opposite, so we know that we have to subtract and keep the sign of the bigger number. So we subtract. What's 15 minus 4? 11. And there's more positives, so the answer is going to be positive. Here's another opposite one. This one has to deal with fractions, so we have to make sure we change everything to common denominators, and since we have some mixed numbers, it's easier to deal with some numbers if we make it improper. So we need to change everything to improper. So we multiply and then add, we multiply and then add. 3 times 3 plus 1 is 10 over 3 plus 2 times 1 is 2 plus 1 more is 3. So that'll be negative 3.5. You need to change it into common denominators. So what you could do is you can use ratio tables to help you, or you can just say, oh, I can use the giant 1 and just multiply this one by 2, top and bottom, and multiply this one by 3 and top and bottom to get the common denominator of 6. Because 3 times 2, 6, and then 2 times 3, 6. So now we change it. 10 times 2 is 20. Negative 3 times 3 is negative 9. So remember, these are opposite signs, so you subtract it because they're opposite. 20 minus 9 is 11 over 6. And 6 goes into 11 one time with 5 left over out of 6. Okay, so we finished this one, and here's the last opposite one right here. We need to change this to improper. Multiply this by top and bottom 2. So that's negative 10 over 2 plus 1.5. They have common denominators, but this one, let's move that over. This one has a mixed number, so let's make sure we change that to improper. Negative 10 over 2 plus 2 times 1 is 2 plus 1 is 3 over 2. They're opposite signs, so remember we're supposed to subtract. So that's going to be negative 7 over 2. 2 goes into 7 3 times with 1 left over, and it's a negative because there's more negatives. You keep the sign of the bigger one. Okay, so we finished all the opposite sign ones. So we finished this one, and this one. So here, these three, we now know they're the same, so we can do the same steps here. So since these are the same sign, we know we just have to add it. So this is actually an easy one. We just add it. What's 17 plus 3? That's 20. And they're both positive, so we keep the sign positive. This one, they're both the same sign, so we just add and keep the sign. This one's a little bit difficult because you have to line up the decimals. So 2 plus 0 is 2. 7 plus 5 is 12. Make sure you bring that decimal down. 4 plus 1 is 5. 5 plus 8 is 13. That's 23. And they're both positive, so they stay the same. All right, this one's pretty tricky. They're the same sign, yes. But it looks like they're taking away from each other, but you have to just add it. So what is 5 plus 5? 10. And you keep the sign negative 10. Okay, here we go. Here is the multiplying and dividing rational numbers. Right now, just because you're paying attention and you are watching this video, if you write down I heart math right here on your test, I will give you 1 extra credit point. It's just a secret though. So don't tell anyone. It's your way of getting 1 extra credit point if you just write down I heart math right here in the multiplication and dividing part, okay? So here, I'm going to multiply a positive times a negative. We know the answer is going to be negative because the Illuminati, positive and a negative, we get left with a negative. 8 times 9 is 72. This is a negative divided by a positive. A negative divided by a positive will be a negative as well. 56 divided by 7 is 8 because 8 times 7 is 56. This one's multiplying. You need to make sure that, well, this one's multiplying decimals, so the first rule is to change everything from horizontal to vertical to make it nice and neat to multiply. 5 times 3 is 15. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. 3 times 2 is 6. And the very end is, remember, you need to move over twice here, so don't forget that. Here we have multiplying and dividing fractions, a little more difficult. So the first step with multiplying fractions is change everything to improper. 4 over 9 times 3 over 2. So you multiply straight across the numerator and the denominator. 4 times 3 is 12. 9 times 2 is 18. I could divide a 2 on top and bottom because they're both even. 6 over 9. Can we reduce this more? Well, 6 and 9 both go into 3, so we can divide a 3 on top and bottom. We get 3. Oh, 6 divided by 3 is 2 over 3. And it's positive because 2 positive times a positive times a positive is positive. And over here, okay, well, we can see here that this is a division problem, so we get to keep change, flip. Remember